Thanks so much for tuning into Behind the Masterpiece, brought to you by Visit Sarasota. You can always listen to this episode and other episodes by going to visitsarasota.com. I am your host, Brian Hirsch. I happen to be the CEO for the Arts and Cultural Alliance of Sarasota County as well. And with us today on Behind the Masterpiece is Alecia Harper. Alecia is the Art Center Sarasota curator, a guest curator, but also she is the Centennial Archivist, which Art Center Sarasota is celebrating 100 years. So Alecia, welcome to Behind the Masterpiece.
Thank you so much, Brian. I'm excited to talk about what's going on at the Art Center this year for the Centennial season.
Well, I'm excited to learn about it. Congrats. What a milestone. So let's just jump in with that. Wow. So what is so special about Art Center Sarasota turning 100 this year?
Well, in 1926, the superintendent of art for the county schools, Marcia Rader, got together with about 12 friends, and they said, we need to develop something that is community-wide, that engages the group and kind of celebrates the contemporary art scene. And in the past 100 years, everything has really grown to serve the community and to serve our visitors that come in, people that are visiting Sarasota just for the arts. And we can kind of see a trend that Sarasota Art Association, which was a predecessor of the current Art Center, really engaged visitors to Sarasota to the point that in 1950, there were approximately 1,500 people that would travel each year just for the arts community. I mean, we have people as far and wide as the Yale Department of Art saying that Sarasota is the creative art nexus for the Southern Coast. And the Art Association played a large role in that, trying to bring in exhibitions of contemporary art and also providing a creative space where people could really connect with the art world here in Sarasota County. So that has completely grown. I know by about 1950, there were 500 artists registered as members with the Art Association. By 1952, there were well over 1,000. So we see a vast expansion of the arts bringing people here to Sarasota County.
Yeah, kind of at the epicenter. Sarasota County is now known as Florida's Cultural Coast. Art Center Sarasota, I would reference, is an original, so it's the oldest, if I'm not mistaken. While you're doing and celebrating this amazing milestone, what sort of cool gems are you finding in the archives? What sort of stories? And I love that 500 to 1,000 artists in 2 years really is quite a story as well.
Right. We're talking about post-World War II, where people are, becoming more mobile and having, a breath of fresh air after the war to kind of return to things that make life more enjoyable, such as the arts. But I have been digging deep in the Sarasota County Historical Archives, in the Ringling College Archives, in the Ringling Museum Archives, and have found so many neat little fun things to include. I mean, there's what you would expect, which is portraits and works by some of the great artists, such as Hilton Leach, Laura Locke, the Farnsworths, Helen Sawyer, Sid Solomon, a lot of names that everyone in Sarasota County and beyond recognizes today. But I think some of the most fun things are finding the original broadsides and flyers from the Art Association that were mailed out that still have the stamps. One of the things that really fascinated me was a telegram from Cecil B. DeMille, the film director, to the Art Association saying, "Thank you for your invitation to come to your opening. I will be there." And then sadly, 2 weeks later, another telegram that said, "Due to weather, can't attend." Finding the original tickets that were sold to the Beaux Ball, that was such a really big thing. And by 1947, Helen Johnson of the Art Association was actually running the Beaux Ball and organizing everything. And they kind of took that over for many, many years until the end of the Beaux Ball. But we have the original tickets that were sold, 5 cents, 10 cents, 50 cents, $1. You could see the times were changing. Other really fun things that came from the North and Ringling families, where they would say, "You know what? Sure, come to the circus and borrow some of the costumes for the Beaux Ball, and let us provide some of the large-scale artworks to decorate the halls." So we can see that it was a very fluid time in the arts community where people were working together. It wasn't just Ringling College on an island by itself and Ringling Museum and the Ringling family, but everyone was, trying to create this special thing that still exists today, 100 years later.
Yeah, amazing. And by the way, anyone can find out information on Art Center Sarasota by going to artsarasota.org. Of course, is a great place. Again, they hopefully you link things to Behind the Masterpiece, which you can catch on visitsarasota.com as well. So, Alecia, we can go about the Beaux Arts Ball in just a minute because it's fascinating, but tell us other ways of sort of honoring the past and looking into these past 100 years while Art Center Sarasota also moves into the future. How are you doing both of those things?
Well, it's interesting. We have a Centennial season of exhibitions that will culminate next August of 2026, because 2026 is the true Centennial year, that will have different types of archival information, paintings, films, videos, even maybe a chunk of some of the original mural wall that was recently moved in order to facilitate the new Bay expansion area.
Wow.
But their exhibitions, the first that will be kicking off is from Art Q. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah, I know that collective. Great.
Which is a local collective. And what they did was they asked for a list of some of the really influential 50s and 60s artists to inspire them to create something new, to bridge the last 70, 75 years of art in Sarasota. And I'm excited. They have an opening this week on Thursday, and that will run through November 15th. So the SRQ. There's also a Newtown exhibition that will happen in the spring to kind of bring in a lot of those different creatives to explore. That is, I believe, primarily photography based. But in addition to that, we're having artist talks, juror critiques, a number of new programs to kind of tell people a little bit about the Art Center's beginnings and how it expanded and became first the Visual Arts Center when it merged with the Friends of the Arts and Sciences, and now is the Art Center Sarasota that we know today, all in the same location since the ground was broken in 1948 for the historic building, which was meant to open in early January of 49, but due to soggy weather was a little bit late opening, but has one location, many art galleries since 1949. I kind of rambled there, but there's artist talks, there's juror critiques. There's some new programs that have been instituted, such as the Art Actually Talk series. There'll be happy hours on second Fridays where everybody can learn a little bit about the history. And also there will be a spotlight wall dedicated to the historical archives all throughout 2025 and 2026. It will be a series of changing little spotlight focus cycles that introduce more history. So even if you're not able or you haven't gotten to the August 2026 Historical Archive exhibition, you can learn more about women in the arts in Sarasota, more about what happened in the 50s and 60s with the huge influx and the development of the artist colony in Sarasota, so many of which were based out of Art Center Sarasota, taught classes there, worked hand in hand. So we'll see what the role of women will be, artists of the 50s and 60s, as well as a small Highwaymen exhibition. And the really fun thing, there's the county schools retrospective. We're asking parents that may have exhibited at the Art Center in the past that now have children in the Sarasota County school systems to bring in their work so we can hang them side by side. And that's in progress. But it's kind of a fun way for people to tap into their history and their experiences. And that's also something fun that visitors from out of town will even enjoy seeing, I think. So there's a wide variety of exhibitions and programs to connect to the history and to educate about the history and to entertain people with incredible works of art.
Sounds amazing. I'll have to look in our house. I know my daughter's had a piece certainly exhibited there before. I wonder if anyone else in my house does too. We'll see. Maybe a little side by side. So great things for sure. So one thing that piqued some interest, you've talked about this legacy and history of Art Center Sarasota and the association and so many of the artists. You referenced this really unique event that Sarasota was well known for, this Beaux Arts Ball. What was that? And what are you doing to maybe bring that back into a new era this year?
That's right. Even though it began a good 90 years ago. It started out with Ringling College students and one of their professors, Pappy Saunders, who created kind of like a rites of spring type of wild bacchanalia where everyone wore costumes. And then after 1947, when Helen Johnson of the Art Association started to organize this, they would pick a theme. It could be under the sea, and everyone dressed as mermaids and mermen and beautiful sea creatures. It was a very elaborate affair. We have outer space aliens. We have characters from Shakespeare. I mean, each year they would try to outdo themselves with these wild costumes and collaborative events and dance performances. So Art Center Sarasota, under Catherine Caesar's direction as the new director, is bringing back the Beaux Arts Ball, and that will be March 21st of 2026, hoping for a really big crowd. I mean, at first, it's like, how many people can we fit into the Art Center Sarasota galleries? So from my understanding, it is now going to be in the municipal auditorium. So there'll be greater access. And we know that it's snowbird season. I'm sure there are a lot of people that could really have a lot of fun attending and learning a little bit more about the arts in Sarasota.
It sounds great. I'm going to have to mark my calendar, although I don't wear a lot of costumes. That's just me personally. So it depends what the theme is like. But, that's a conversation for another day. But we know in your role as this Centennial archivist and a guest curator as well, what do you get to curate? What are you curating this year? Because I think you get to be one of the real milestone events to kick off or to almost maybe end cap this celebration.
So I'm so excited about this. Starting next August, I believe it's going to open August 20th. We'll have Gallery 2 with a timeline. It's not going to be every single year, but it will be hitting the highlights and the expansion and the role of community and the growth of the artist colony, and really exploring the dynamics of the arts and culture, because the arts have been the backbone behind the scenes of Sarasota's community and its visitors from out of state and from out of the country for so long. Hopefully people will enjoy this. It's not going to be your old sepia-toned Wild West look into the past. Hopefully it will be something where you can see the development, see the sights of Sarasota, and really, experience the art, because contemporary art has been a focus since the many early years, as well as film. The Art Center actually created one of the first film series here in Sarasota in 1952. So hopefully we'll be able to have a little projector so you can engage with that, artworks from artists. We'll have clips from previous directors and previous education directors, and just a lot of different pieces. We're very fortunate that people who own some of the artists from the 40s, 50s, and 60s have agreed to share some of the works. I hope I can say this. Eugene White's family is giving us some of his incredible works for our Circus Spotlight and maybe for the larger archival exhibition. And we're still, going through the county archives and following through to see what we can find to just, make it a lot of fun. Not just photographs and text on a wall, but something that, is entertaining as well, especially with the Circus Spotlight. So.
Yeah. It sounds incredibly experiential, which I'm always looking for. And I think our visitors to Sarasota are seeking unique experiences as well. So maybe just summarize. So when someone comes to visit Sarasota, how would they experience Art Center? What are some of the things they can do in addition to those exhibitions?
Well, if you're here during the week, there's always Saturday night sketches on the weekend. So that's a new program that will start this year, where you're able to come in sometimes with a live model, sometimes with an inspiration or tableau, and engage with the art by creating art on your own. We're having a book fair, bringing that back, because that was part of the original mission of the Art Center. So an illustrator's book fair and designer showcase will happen, as well as having 4 galleries that are constantly rotating throughout this year with new exciting exhibitions from all over. We have photography, we have ceramics, we have sculpture, we have an architectural feature, which will be a lot of fun because we can talk about how in the Bayfront you have the original Art Center building in this primarily Sarasota modernist style, and how it expanded over the years as the need for more art space to display grew. So, it goes through the gamut of different media that they can experience, as well as having the spotlight cycles where they can just learn a little bit about the history and how it ties into the present day artists.
Amazing. People can drop in, they can experience an exhibition, they could take a class. Such amazing things at Art Center Sarasota.
I know in the past year, there have been more than 50,000 guests into the Art Center Sarasota, and it would be wonderful if for the Centennial season, we could maybe increase that number. I would love to see it double, but I know that's probably not realistic given everything that's going on. But it would be great to see more people coming through the doors, experiencing the art, taking part in the art.
Here's to 100,000 for celebrating 100 years, right? Anything is possible. Alecia Harper. She's the Centennial Archivist and Guest Curator for Art Center Sarasota, which is celebrating its 100th year. Amazing. Kudos. Congratulations. For more information on Art Center Sarasota, you can always go to artsarasota.org. If you want to catch this podcast or many others of Behind the Masterpiece, you can go to visitsarasota.com. I'm your host, Brian Hirsch. Alecia, thanks so much for being on Behind the Masterpiece.
Thank you so much for having me, and I will see you at the Art Center.
See you at the Art Center. Until next time, see you soon. Peace. Thanks for listening to this episode of Behind the Masterpiece, brought to you by Visit Sarasota County. For more and to hear this podcast, go to visitsarasota.com.